Hey, hello there. I'm Erwin from the Programmers. Today we'll be learning about input and output in C++. So first of all, let's understand the header file. C++ comes with libraries which provides us many ways for performing input and output. Here are some header files used for input and output operations. The first one is Iostream. Iostream stands for Standard Input and Output Stream. This header file contains definition to objects like cin, cout, sir, and many more. IOmanip stands for Input and Output Manipulators. The methods declared in this file are used for manipulating streams. This file contains definitions like setW, set positions, and more others. Lastly, fstream. This header file mainly describes the file stream. This header file is used to handle the data being read from a file as input or data being written into the file as output. In C++, cin and cout are used for taking inputs and printing outputs. Now let's learn about output. So in order to output something on the screen, we have to use something called cout. And you have to use two lesson signs, which I'm going to explain it later, and then inside a double quotation. So cout, that's two lesson signs and double quotation. You have to put whatever we want to print, so let's write I am a C++ programmer. So let's go ahead and run it. As you can see, it will print out I'm a C++ programmer. Now what happens? Now cout is meant console out or console output. Now for us, the standard console is our monitor. So whatever we write over here will be redirected towards cout, console output. And this sign is called the insertion operator. Now insertion operator redirects whatever we write here to console output. Now, as I have said before, console output for us, the standard console output is the monitor, so whatever we write here, after it will go through the insertion operator and it will get printed in our console outputs or in our screen. So that is how we give output. Now if I want to print a variable, like for example, I declare here int a equals to 5, and I want to print this number. So what we'll do is we do not need any double quotations for this, so we just need to put a. That's all. So let's go ahead and run it. There's 5 now. If I change the value of a into 23, let's go ahead and run it. There's 23. So whenever we want to print the value of any variable, we do not need any double quotation marks. Now let's write another thing. Suppose I want to write a sentence. So let's go ahead and write I am a programmer. And then the next line I can write I am Erwin. So let's go ahead and run it. As you can see, it wrote everything, but the spacings is a bit off and I want it in the next line. So in order to fix that, we had to write one more manipulator that is called NL, or in another word, nline. So if we put nline over here, so whatever I put after it, it will go to a separate line. So let's go ahead and run it. There. As you can see, we have two things in two separate lines. Okay, so whenever we want to declare something in next line, we have to put NL or end of line over here. Remember, this is an insertion operator. So let's get on to inputs. So whenever we want to take input from our keyboard or our standard console input, we have to put something like cin. and then we have to use this called the extraction operator, which is lesser than. So before that, let's create another variable. So what the extraction operator does is it redirects from console input to this variable. So whatever value is taken from the console input, for in our case, which is our keyboard, will be redirected to this variable. Okay, so let's take input into this variable, and the next line I'll print the value of the variable, which is cout less than b. So what happened is whatever I write in this b variable from the sender input will be redirected to the sender output and will be printed. So let's give a prompt to the user. So cout less than sign quotation marks, please input a value. So what will happen is it will output our sentence in the screen, input a value, and then it will wait for me to give an input, and then it will output the value I have given inside B. So let's go ahead and run it. As you can see, please input the value, it's still waiting for me, so let's give it the value 78. So if I press enter, it will give out 78. This is it for the topic. Hope you learned something today. See you in the next one.